the news hour, coming to you live from the studios of HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Stay tuned. Download the tuning app onto your mobile phone today and catch up on all the latest news from HitzAfrik Radio. Broadcasting live on modern Ghana and our website www.hitzafrikradio.org. HitzAfrik Radio News Hour live. The news hour, coming to you live from the studios of HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Stay tuned. Download the tuning app onto your mobile phone today and catch up on all the latest news from HitzAfrik Radio. Broadcasting live on modern Ghana and our website www.hitzafrikradio.org. HitzAfrik Radio News Hour live.
Good morning. It's exactly 7 o'clock GMT in the studios of HitzAfrik Radio and TV. It's time for us to bring you the news at 7 o'clock GMT. Today happens to be the second day of April 2021. Now let's do the news headlines. World Vision loans government for 80% water. All prison inmates presented for 2020 BEC score 100%. Geologists beaten up by angriest octopus on beach. Feminism is getting women to be beaten. These and many other stories I bring your way this morning. Stay tuned as I fetch you the news in details. My name is Abena Ahini. Now let's do the news in details. World Vision loans government for 80% water coverage. World Vision, a child-focused Christian relief, development and advocacy non-governmental organization working in Ghana, has lauded the government, development partners, other NGOs, the private sector, and non-state actors for ensuring that 80% out of every 100 Ghanaians have access to potable water. It has, however, reminded the government that 6 million children and their families still do not have access to potable water. These were contained in a statement jointly issued by the Washington Technical Coordinator, Mr. Yao Atta Ahin, and the Communications Manager of World Vision Ghana, Mr. Washington Nawakpo, to mark World Water Day, which falls on March 22nd every year and was on the theme, Every Child Deserves Clean Water. The child-focused NGO said, on the occasion of World Water Day 2021, World Vision Ghana wishes to congratulate government, development partners, NGOs, CSOs, private sector, and other non-state actors for working hard to ensure we, however, need to remind ourselves that while we have made some strides, some 6 million children and their families still lack access to safe water. Stating that it believes that nothing can be more important to child well-being than the access to safe drinking water, World Vision Ghana has therefore called on the government of Ghana to, as a matter of urgency, prioritize and increase investment to ensure that every child everywhere has access to safe water. It also urges the government to explore and invest in alternative water supply systems where underground water is not feasible and take appropriate steps to protect our water bodies from pollution and degradation to reflect the theme for World Water Day 2021, Valuing Water. Further, World Vision wants the government to take immediate steps to address water quality challenges and the inequalities associated with access to water, including those identified in the 2017-2018 Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey, MICS, report, and also pay attention to the delivery of safe water in schools and healthcare facilities. in order to create conducive environments for quality education and healthcare. With the 2017-2018 Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey (MICS) report as the basis for its call, the NGO, which rated the report's finding that close to 8 persons in every 10 households had E. coli fecal contamination in their drinking water, while close to 5 out of 10 water sources were also affected. The same report also reveals clear wealth disparity in water basic access, with the wealthy nearly twice more likely to have access than the poor. Additionally, urban dwellers are more likely to have basic access than those from rural areas. There is a clear wealth disparity on basic water access, with the wealthy nearly twice as likely to have access than the poor. Additionally, urban dwellers are more likely to have basic access than those from rural areas. The MICS report states in one of its key messages. The MICS report defines basic drinking water service needed by all, which corresponds to Sustainable Development Goal (SDG) 1.4.1 as an improved source, provided collection time is not more than 30 minutes for a round trip, including queuing. Improved drinking water sources, it says, are those that have the potential to deliver safe water by nature of their design and construction, and include piped water, boreholes or tube wells, protected dark wells, protected springs, rainwater, and packaged or delivered water. Limited refers to an improved source that takes more than 30 minutes round trip, while unimproved sources include unprotected dark wells and unprotected springs. Surface water no service refers to the direct collection of water from surface waters such as rivers, lakes, or irrigation channels. Reaffirming its commitment to partnering government, the private sector, NGOs, CSOs, and other stakeholders towards increased access to safe water, World Vision opines that the importance of water to human beings cannot be overemphasized, as it promotes improved health, livelihoods, and general well-being. Moving on to other stories, commercial flights at Ho Airport starts in 2 weeks. The Ho Airport begins operations by the middle of April with flights by domestic airline operators, African World Airlines. He said it was critical for all to secure the land for future use, and as such, anyone who encroached on it would have their building razed without compensation. The minister was impressed with work done on the whole airport, which he said indicated its readiness for a full take-off at operations. Mr. Esiama with Dr. Archibald Lester saw after the former touched down at the whole airport. He said the aviation industry was private sector driven, hence the need for diverse support from all players in order to improve upon the sector, even as government awaits the operations of Ghana's national carrier by the end of 2021. The basic problem that we have in this country is that government doesn't have a home-based carrier. It is private sector driven. Development encroached on whole airport land. Mr. Esiama said, with the commencement of commercial flights at the airport, there was the need for residents, including those in the business community, to patronize these flights in order for the sector to come and make the required turnaround, especially following the COVID-19 pandemic. He said there were other avenues for sustaining the functions of the airport, including training of pilots. We are trying to put this airport to other users like training of pilots and other users. We are in discussion with the private sector. A group of contacted us and we are in discussion with them. So, apart from using it for commercial purpose, we can use this place to train our pilots. Moving on to other stories, all prison inmates presented for 2020 BEC score 100%. All 25 inmates of the Senior Correctional Sector (SCC) presented for the 2020 Basic Education Certificate examination have successfully passed. The Senior Correctional Center, known as the Bastor Institute, is the only juvenile male facility in Ghana under the management of the Ghana Prisons Service. 21 of them have secured placements in various senior high technical schools across the country, with the remaining 4 pending placements. Out of the number, 14 are still in custody, while the remaining 11 have gone on discharge. In a related development, all 3 inmates of the Nsawam Medium Security Prison who sat for the NOVDEC 2020 BEC have also passed with aggregates ranging from 10 to 14. One of them has since gone on discharge, while the other 2, who are still in custody, have been enrolled into the senior high school program of the Nsawam Prison Senior High School. The Ghana Prison Service, in its quest to deliver on its reformation mandate in line with international best practices on prisoner education, introduced formal education in 2007, starting with the senior correction sector on a pilot basis. The brilliant performance of the first batch of this pilot led to the extension of the program to other prison facilities, culminating in government decision to construct a school block in the Nsawam Media Security Prison through the Ghana Education Trust Fund (GET Fund). The facility currently serves as a school complex where junior high school, senior high school, and tertiary education programs are run for inmates. It would be recalled that the University of Cape Coast in January 2020 matriculated 59 inmates of the Nsawam Medium Security Prison into various diploma programs offered by its College of Distance Education. The initiative was the first fruit of a collaboration between the prison's administration and the university with support from Plan Volta Foundation, a non-governmental organization. The prison's administration, since the inception of formal education program for inmates in 2007, have been exploring the possibility of tertiary education for inmates since a good number of them complete the senior high school program with very good grades but remain in custody as they have not finished their prison sentences. This long-cherished dream, however, became a reality in 2020 when Plan Volta Foundation of the University of Cape Coast came on board. It is believed that given the necessary support, the initiative would continue to churn out every year from the prisons. Persons who can no longer be simply described as ex-convicts, but rather graduates who can be productive, law-abiding, and can contribute their quota to national development. Moving on to other stories, Energy Minister demands maintenance schedules of IPPS. Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, in the meeting with the IPPS, where he asked them to publicize maintenance schedules. The Minister for Energy, Mr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has stressed the need to bridge the information gap between upstream independent power producers, IPPS, and clusters of customers in the country. He said the provision of timely information on plant maintenance schedules by the IPPS would enable consumers plan ahead, reduce any disruptions of their social and economic activities. The minister made the call when he summoned a meeting of the Independent Power Producers (IPPS) at his office and requested the maintenance schedules for their power plants. He said there is no doubt IPPS play a critical role in ensuring that power consumers have a constant supply of power nationwide. He said, however, that to ensure transparent operations for the people of Ghana, there is the need for the public to have some level of understanding of their operations. He reminded the IPPS that the primary objective of a plant maintenance is to maximize equipment performance by keeping equipment running safely as long as possible without the equipment deteriorating or having unplanned outages. These schedules, he said, will help in providing adequate and timely information to the public should these planned mandatory maintenances affect power supply. Dr. Prempeh assured the public they would in due course be updated on which plants would be maintained, how and when the plants are scheduled to be maintained, and many effects of as a result of these essential works and for how long. Efficiency and reliability, he said in the industry. Maintenance is central to operations to make the plant efficient and reliable for delivering on demand. We in the industry, we don't overlook what would undermine our efficiency and reliability, hence planned maintenance. When it is time to do our maintenance, we do it and do it completely to guarantee availability. And with our schedule made known to the ministry, we can all plan and know when to communicate to the public, he said. The move by the sector minister, he said, gave a clear signal for the industry that we need to form synergies, having all key stakeholders on the same page to make planning more effective. He said one of the challenges the system has is that some of the generators are obsolete and sometimes one has to shut down because continuous operation could cause a major problem. He said altogether the IPPS accounts for installed capacity of 2,780 megawatts, of which 2,558 megawatts is available to support the national generation capacity of more than 5,650 megawatts. Here lies the end of the story. Stay tuned as I bring you other African countries. In Mali, French Defense Minister Florence Pally met on Thursday with Malian Transitional President Ba Ndao at the presidency in Bamako. Counterpart from Estonia, Karl Lanet, and the Czech Republic, Lubomir Metnar, are part of the delegation. The move appears to be an effort in the insistence that a French airstrike in January did not kill 19 civilians in northern Mali. All the fundamental principles aimed at preserving civilians have been applied. And I strongly reaffirm that on January 3rd, the French armed forces targeted a terrorist group that had been formally identified as such. I state again that there were no women or children among the victims, and that this strike was intended to neutralize terrorist elements. Contrary to her statement, Tuesday's report resulting from an investigation launched by the United Nations Mission in Mali, MINUSMA, revealed that the controversial French Air Force struck near the remote village of Bounty on January 3rd at a site where a wedding party of about 100 people had in fact been taking place. Although French has also denied the wedding presence, accounts from local residents corroborate the report's findings. The report also questioned whether the French military had enough time to do its due diligence and ensure that a strike would not harm civilians. A French airstrike killed 19 civilians in Mali in January, a UN report said on Tuesday, prompting a strong denial from France. The French Air Force struck near the remote village of Bounty on January 3rd in circumstances that sparked controversy in a war-torn Sahel state. Residents of the village said the strike hit a wedding party and killed civilians. Moving on to other African countries, in Senegal, wrestling takes a comeback in Senegal after a year-long wait. 10 burly Senegalese wrestlers raised a chant singing, "Mother, pray for us," while jogging up and down a sandy field by the Atlantic Ocean. Training has resumed after a year of coronavirus-related restrictions that had stopped them from practicing their sport. Wrestling in the West African nation is a centuries-old tradition rooted in harvest festivals and draws a financial following Hawking fighters dressed in loincloths faced off in packed stadiums, performing mystic rituals in the sun before going toe-to-toe. On Sunday, the first major bout since the start of the pandemic will take place in a 200,000-seater stadium just outside Dakar. This fight is of huge importance to me, says Emil Sen, 42, one of the men training in the suburb of the capital Dakar, a former national champion once crowned king of the arenas. Sene is hoping to make a comeback in his match against a fighter known as Lak 2. There are 5 separate bouts on Sunday's fight card, but this one is the main draw. Panels advertising the event line in streets. Gaston Imbengwe, the fight promoter, told AFP that there had not been a clash of the level for years. Such fights can grind daily life to a halt, with many people glued to television sets to watch wrestlers spar and attempt to throw each other to the ground. But Senegal's fans have been deprived of the spectacle since the onset of the pandemic last year, when the government banned wrestling matches and training sessions in professional stables. After nationwide unrest, Senegal lifted health restrictions this month, allowing the sport to resume. At the training session, the Dakar suburb of Petit Mbao, barrel-chested fighters grapple with each other until a call to prayer interrupts them. Moving on to other African countries, in Tunisia, angry protests in Tunisia over garbage shipments from Italy. At a time when 600 containers of hazardous and toxic waste destined for Tunisia have been blocked by the Italian customs authorities, civil society activists from the port city of Sousse gathered on Thursday to rally in front of the Italian embassy in Tunis. The demonstration was organized to demand the repatriation to Italy of 282 containers of Italian waste still blocked at the port of Sousse. The activists protested by carrying garbage bags loaded with bouquets of flowers and chanted slogans such as "Tunisia is not the trash of Italy." "There is no social justice without environmental justice," shouted demonstrators gathered Sunday to demand the repatriation of the waste. "This case represents a crime against the Tunisian people," said Majdi Ben Ghazala, a member of the Sousse Municipal Council. "We ask the Tunisian authorities to show more determination to have the waste returned," he added. According to Hamdi Ben Saleh, the protester, another rally is planned for Thursday in front of the Italian embassy in Tunis. The activists, who also have signs in Italian and criticize the negligence of the authorities in both countries and the corruption that is rampant in this area. 2 demonstrations were held in March over the issue. The scandal led to the prosecution of the port head and customs and the resignation of the country's environment minister. 8 people are in prison over the matter. During the summer of 2020, customs has discovered these household wastes whose export is prohibited under Tunisian law, presented administratively by the importing company as harmless plastic waste. Richer countries have for years used their poorer counterparts as dumping grounds. In 2019, the Philippines shipped back thousands of tons of trash to Canada after a heated row. Moving on to Somali. The council said in a press statement after a closed briefing by UN Special Envoy James Swan that inclusive elections should take place as soon as possible in the interest of all Somalis. Pressure has been growing on Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed since the February elections failed to take place because of the lack of agreement on how the vote should be carried out. 2 regional states have said they would not take part without a deal. Contentious issues in the election process include the formation of the Electoral Management Commission, the selection of commission members from the breakaway region of Somaliland, and the crisis in Somaliland-Kenya border region of Gedo. Critics accused Mohammed who is seeking a second four-year term, delaying the election to extend his current mandate. The president has blamed unnamed foreign investors. The council called for the parties to resolve outstanding issues on the basis of an agreement reached last September 17th. This was the second appeal this month by the UN's most powerful body for action to organize elections. On March 12th, the council urged the federal government and regional states to organize free, fair, credible, and inclusive elections in accordance with the September agreement without delay. The appeal was in a resolution that authorized the African Union to maintain its nearly 20,000 strong force in Somalia until the end of the year, with the mandate to reduce the threat from al-Shabaab and extremist groups to enable a stable federal, sovereign and united Somalia. The council on Wednesday retreated their condemnation to terrorist attacks by al-Shabaab and reaffirmed their support for the national sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence of Somalia. Council members also recommended the AU's role in promoting dialogue between Somalia's parties. British Ambassador Barbara Woodward, who called for the meeting along with other council members, said Swan told council that Somalia's electoral process required urgent attention. She said the council very much welcomes Swan's efforts to bring the parties together and to proceed with elections as soon as possible, but without compromising. Somalia began to fall apart in 1991 when warlords, outstanding dictator Said Barre, and the then 10 other. Years of conflict of al-Shabaab attacks, along with famine, left his Horn of Africa country of about 12 million people largely shattered. There are small groups, often mixed with some remaining population, that have been making these wear and tear shots at our forces. But surely, there is not a large terrorist group in the village of Palma, I can assure you. Chongo Vidigal, Mozambique Defense and Security Forces spokesperson. Yella is the end of the African story. Stay tuned as I fetch you the world news.
The News Hour, coming to you live from the studios of HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Stay tuned. Download the
You're still logged on to HitzAfrik Radio and TV. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Now let's do some foreign stories. In Germany, Dutch PM Rutte narrowly survives no confidence vote. Mr. Rutte is accused of lying about move to sideline a troublesome MP. Parliament has given me a serious message, and I will try my very best to win back confidence, Mr. Rutte said. The 54-year-old has been in office for more than a decade and has been dubbed Teflon Mark for his ability to survive scandals. His center-right VVD party won the most seats in parliament elections just 2 weeks ago, and he has in talks to form a new coalition government. The scandal centers around the MP Peter Omtzigt, whose Christian Democratic Appeal Party formed part of the previous coalition. Mr. Omtzigt, a frequent critic of Mr. Rutte, had helped expose a child welfare fraud scandal that led to the government's resigning in January and the subsequent elections. His name appeared alongside the words positioned elsewhere in a document from the coalition talks that was photographed being carried by one of the chief negotiators, she said, rushed out of parliament having tested positive for COVID-19. Amid speculation that Mr. Rutte planned to sideline the popular MP, the Prime Minister initially denied discussing the issue. However, on Thursday, he admitted that he had remembered that wrong, saying only that he had been reminded of the conversation after receiving a phone call earlier in the day and insisting I did not lie. The BBC's Anna Holigan in The Hague says that although Mr. Rutte has managed to cling onto his job, he has been wounded by the votes. The damage to his premiership will have an impact on the shape and direction of the new coalition government, she notes. Sigrid Kaag, the leader of one of the coalition partners, D66 Party, said she was unsure about joining a new government with Mr. Rutte. How will you regain government? She asked of him. Moving on to other country, in France, YouTube star admits messaging underage boys. The legal age of consent in the US is 18. I fully understand my actions and how they are wrong, the 21-year-old influencer said in a video posted on his YouTube channel on Thursday. Allegations against Mr. Charles first emerged on social media earlier this year. In February, the influencer, who has 25 million subscribers to his YouTube channel, was accused by one teenager of grooming, which Mr. Charles denied, saying he flirted with the person because he believed the boy to be 18. Mr. Charles, who denied previous accusations, but in Thursday's video titled "Holding Myself Accountable," he admitted wrongdoing. He says there were two incidents, one last year said, and one more recently, where he came to be aware that the person he was exchanging messages was an underage. These conversations should have never happened, Mr. Charles said in the 40-minute video. He admitted he could have searched for them on other social media platforms and found their real ages. He also publicly apologized to the boys and said he would take the time away from posting on social media to educate himself about these issues. The scandal is not the first time the beauty influencer has faced a controversy. In 2019, he was accused of using fame and money to try to manipulate someone's sexuality, which he denied. When addressing why he has been reckless in past relationships, he said it is because he is desperate. But as time progressed, he says in his most recent video that he began ignoring red flags again. He ended his video vowing to be more cautious in the future and stop threatening on social media accounts as dating apps. In 2019, YouTube deleted singer Austin Jones' channel after he admitted to exchanging sexually explicit images and videos with underage girls. David Dobrik, one of YouTube's top earners in 2020, recently had his channel demonetized by YouTube following a rape allegation about a former associate. Moving on to other country, in Australia, geologists beaten up by angriest octopus on beach. A man has been whipped by what he described as the angriest octopus while swimming on holiday at a Western Australian beach. The creature came after him again later and struck him on the arm before wiping his neck and upper back. The tentacles left stinging red welts on his skin, which Mr. Carrison said only eased after poor collar over them. The former lifeguard told Australian news outlet 7 News that his preferred treatment to sea animal stings is vinegar, but he did not have any on him at the time. However, he said he knew anything acidic may help, and decided to try using cola. Turns out it works. Mr. Carlson also said, as about to take a dip near the resort, where he and his family were staying at the Jervey Bay, he saw that he thought was the tail of a stranger striking a seagull. He discovered it was an octopus only when he walked closer with his 2-year-old daughter and was filming a video of it when it suddenly struck on their direction. The octopus lashed at us, which was a real shock, Mr. Carlson said in the emailed comment to news agency Reuters. Later, when he went into the water alone, the octopus found him again and struck him. My goggles became forged, the water was suddenly murky, and I remembered being shocked and confused, he said. Here lies the end of the foreign story. Stay tuned as I fetch you the entertainment news.
The News Hour, coming to you live from the studios of HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Stay tuned.
You're still logged on to HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Now let's do some entertainment stories. We are tired of leaders not caring about the people. Yvonne Nelson fires Akufo-Addo. Ghanaian film producer and actress Yvonne Nelson has trashed President Akufo-Addo for not caring about the people. She fired the president after the Ghana Grid Company (GRIDCO) served a notice yesterday stating that it will begin a fourth-month load shedding exercise with the Electricity Company of Ghana (ECG) in some parts of the country. The notice said the exercise is expected to commence in April and last through to August. Reacting to the news, the Sin City actress, who played an instrumental role in the 2015 Doomsday Must Stop protest against the then President John Mahama, reminded Nana Akufo-Addo of the pressure he mounted on Mahama when he was in power. She said the government should fix doomsday load shedding in the country because Ghanaians deserve better. She then fired Nana Addo, saying he doesn't care about the people and that Ghanaians are tired. Mr. President, at Nana Akufo-Addo, remember when JD Mahama was in power? Remember the pressure everyone gave him, including you, because of doomsday? Okay, good. Fix it. Ghanaians deserve better. We are tired of leaders not caring about the people. Hashtag doomsday must stop, she tweeted. In a separate tweet, she revealed that she passed by a police station where they had no lights to work. Moving on to other stories, Hajia Bintu, Jacqueline Mensah, Dr. Ewa emerged winners at TikTok Ghana Awards list. TikTok Ghana Entertainment Awards held over the weekend has seen some Ghanaian TikTokers getting recognized and awarded for their craft in creating entertaining content on the social media app. Dr. Ewa, Jacqueline Mensah, Hajia Bintu win at TikTok Ghana Awards. The award ceremony, which happened at the auditorium of the Ghana Accra Metropolitan Assembly, saw popular Ghanaian TikTokers like Jacqueline Mensah, known for her whip-cracking mimicking videos, emerging as winner. Dr. Ewa, a Ghanaian dentist who has a striking resemblance with Kevin Hart, also won the category of Most Influential TikToker of the Year, with official crowns adjudged Verified TikToker of the Year. Ghanaian actor Fifi Coleman with rapper Yapono were also honored at the ceremony. That saw Hajia Bintu receiving a special award. Actor of the Year, Say Logan. Actress of the Year, Jacqueline Mensah. Best Duet, The Walking Chord. Well Behaved, Etjifa. Comedian, Apna. Beauty Queen, Portia Wekia. Overall, Jacqueline Mensah. Entertaining, Tema Jesus. Transitionist, Crystal. Dance of Slow-Mo, Luvan Bay. TikTok Live, Gideon One Official. Best Group, Sugar King and Abigail. Artist of the Year, Femi the Bank Boy. Best Art, Chiaka Ama. Best Duet Video, The Noble King. Lip Sync, Kwesi Forsen. Best Production, Festival of Love. Pencil Artist, Erujondra. Most Promising, Future 1Z. Verified TikToker, Official Orient, Support Axis. Moving on to other stories, Reggie and Bolly announced Kiss Your Bride remix featuring Ed Sheeran. Reggie and Bolly have put in an effort to bring back Bolly's Kiss Your Bride track on rotation on the airwaves. The song, released in 2003 by Bolly, became a monster hit and remains one of the classic tunes by the rapper, who was now formed a music group with Reggie Zippy and go by the name Reggie and Bolly. The duo is best known for finishing as runner-ups on the X Factor UK in 2015, have announced that we will be dropping Kiss Your Bride remix and it will feature Ed Sheeran with Dr. Dre and Dahama working on it as producers. The secret is finally out of the bag. We are extremely excited to be dropping a remix of Bolly's all-time classic, hashtag Kiss Your Bride, featuring Ed Sheeran at Teddy's Photos. A statement shared on all social media pages stated The post, which came on a photo of Reggie and Bully with the multiple Grammy award-winning British singer, added that best produced by at @DeHammerGH and at @GRDRE, disclosing that the song drops at exactly 11:59 p.m. tonight. Moving on to our last story for entertainment. Feminism is causing women to get beaten by their husband, says HitzAfrik. Peter Edochie has stated that some married women invite domestic violence on themselves by practicing some principles of feminism. Feminism isn't something Black people are known for. Once a woman leaves her parents to meet her husband and take his surname, she is to be submissive to him. If she wasn't married, she can do whatever she wants, the Nollywood actor said. The 74-year-old added that women walk and show off their behinds. It's so that men would find them. If you see such a woman and express your marriage interest, then she starts walking properly. Are women now plunge into feminism nowadays? In an interview with BBC Igbo, the actor, known for his conservative principles, lamented that it is unfortunate some women now do not keep their husband's name. Neither do some of them know how to cook. My mother was not educated, but she would cook all sorts of soups, including bitter leaf, oha, ogbono, okro, egusi, ukwa, and what have you. My father would always have get back home hurriedly to eat what his wife had cooked, he recounted. Peter continued that today our wives can't even cook anymore and emphasized that women who can't cook aren't supposed to be called themselves women, before adding that the feminism is what causes women to be beaten up in marriages. Wangi Imba Inzoko, Patient Ozoko, Petty Edochi, Onyeka Uwengu, and Genevieve Inaji at the African Magic Igbo Lounge in Enugu. Wangi Imba Inzuoko, Patient Ozoko, Petty Odochi, Onyeka Onyenu, and Genevieve Inaji at the African Music. You complain to a woman and she retorts. It becomes unbearable, so you stretch your arm and deal her a slap. Domestic violence starts. I don't like seeing women crying because it hurts me deeply, but it is the fault of the woman herself a lot of times, Peter Edochie explained. According to the actor, considered a legend in the Nigerian film industry, feminism has no place in Nigeria's culture, stating that men do not worship women as the whites do. To be honest, the understanding of women is low. I'm not a misogynist, but I've associated with them a lot, even at work. In the West, women could join forces and accuse a male colleague of assault. The man resigns. This can't happen in our culture. As a young woman, if pedestrians don't admire you, you would weep for fear of not being beautiful, he said. Talking about some foreign cultures he does not conform to, Peter Edochie stated that kneeling to propose marriage to a woman is wrong. He explained that any man who does that transfers the headship of his family to the woman. I'm a strong adherent of culture. It's just like kneeling on ancient church because there is a higher being home. Peter Edochie also noted that it wasn't like that in our days. How women talk to men nowadays isn't how we were raised. My mother was never beaten. My wife and I have been married for 52 years. I never beat her. My 5 married sons don't beat their wives. Here lies the end of the news for this morning. Stay tuned as I fetch you the recap of today's headlines.
You are listening to HitzAfrik Radio.
You're still logged on to HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Now let's do a recap of today's headlines. World Vision lauds government for 80% water. All prison inmates presented for 2020 BEC score 100%. Geologists beaten up by angriest octopus on beach. Feminism is getting women to be beaten. These and many other stories I brought your way this morning. Stay tuned for the business segment. Now, have a blessed morning.